Very good morning. I am Dr. P. Surendra Babu. I did my doctoral from Indian Agriculture Research Institute, New Delhi, in the discipline of soil science and agriculture chemistry. After acquiring my doctoral, I worked as a remote sensing specialist scientist in the states of Uttar Pradesh and in the state of Karnataka for application of remotely sensed data for applications in soils, agriculture and land use. After acquiring this expertise and also having exposure for the geographical information systems to apply for the agriculture purpose, I joined Andhra Pradesh Agriculture University. Now it is Telangana State Agriculture University. There I worked in different capacities as assistant professor, associate professor and I have become senior principal scientist and head of the Institute of Soil Health Management, ARI Rajendra Nagar. My specialization was in the field of soil fertility, precision agriculture, use of remotely sensed data, use of radioisotopes for agriculture, fertilizer use efficiency, soil conservation, etc. I have been also designated expert from the university to the state government of Andhra Pradesh as well as Telangana government for various soil test related issues, fertilizer use, organic farming, etc. I now work as a professor in Kaveri University and as head of soil science and agriculture chemistry department. Soil science department is one of the natural resource management discipline which is very essential in agriculture. It is the soils from where we raise our crops and the human civilization depends on it. So, to impart a very good skills and understanding and knowledge about the soils in undergraduate program of BSc Agriculture Honours, it is very essential to have a very robust laboratory in the discipline of soil science and agriculture chemistry. So, an effort has been made to have this laboratory equipped with the best of equipment and best of facilities and best of logistics so that students will be exposed to different skills and acquiring of knowledge in the discipline of soil science and agriculture chemistry. This department is very important in the terms of imparting skills in various aspects of general as well as professional life. It is not only for the acquiring the knowledge for pursuing the higher education, but also to acquire different skills and the skills that are required so that those students or those who are interested to go for entrepreneurship can go even after the undergraduation. For example, this particular laboratory will impart the skills in terms of how to do the fertilizer recommendation for the farming community by way of soil, water and plant testing. Similarly, it can also help to acquire the knowledge like how we can have different organic manure production so that those products can be used in organic farming as well as in general agriculture. Similarly, the skills acquired in this laboratory will also help to have knowledge about evaluating the land and also to know how to prevent the pollution. So, these skills particularly in terms of acquiring the knowledge and practice in analyzing the various parameters of soil, plant, water and food products as well. So, there are several parameters that are to be evaluated or tested of these components, that is soils, water, plant and food, so that we can give certain standards or we can come out with what is lacking or what is in excess so that the same things can be converted into recommendations. And for these recommendations to give, we need to have a very good knowledge of how to do the analysis of certain components for certain parameters. So, this laboratory is very important not only for this purpose, but also have the coordination and collaboration with other disciplines such as agronomy, plant physiology, so that these three natural resource management discipline or where a big component can have a robust upscaling and then expertise being important, being given to the students. So this is the purpose for which this laboratory has been established, duly taking care of what all things that I have mentioned so far. This soil testing and water testing and plant testing laboratory is also very important in terms of aesthetic value also. For example, those who are going for flower cultivation, or those who are going for fruits, and those who are going for vegetables. For this purpose also we need all this analysis, not only regular crops like what we used to think like rice, cotton, etc. So it means for all purposes, for all crops it is very important. Nowadays we are also going for hydroponics. In hydroponics the most important thing is to have infrastructure as well as fertilizer supply or nutrient supply through solutions. So to have a standard nutrient solution, we also need to know the composition and the proportion of the different nutrients, which can be standardized using a chemistry laboratory such as this soils and plant diagnostic laboratory. So this will also help us to come out with the products that can be developed and can be made as an entrepreneurship in the future for those who are interested. In terms of going for higher education, this laboratory is very important because we need to safeguard our soils. For this purpose, we have got several aspects that are to be studied in terms of academics as well as the application in the field. For example, soil conservation, precision agriculture, and then in precision agriculture is also called as variable rate technology. So all these things for higher education can be given a good foundation in this particular laboratory. For this purpose, we need varied kinds of instruments, not only to teach the fundamental concepts, but also to give a very high-end exposure. For example, these days we are having very fast applications or very fast analysis or very fast way of doing things. So conventional methods that have been done using the previously good instruments, but nowadays not being sought but require very high speed equipment. We need to give the exposure to the students, both old concept based as well as the new generation equipment. So this laboratory takes care of both these aspects so that they will be fundamentally sound and futuristically exposed and then become skilled in this handling of this equipment. This is all about this laboratory. I have been mentioning about the importance of the soil science and agricultural chemistry in agriculture in general and specifically in natural resource management, and how it is very important not only from the academic point of view for higher education but also from the enterprising point of acquiring skills after graduation if at all some people want to go for entrepreneurship. Now, as I have been mentioning, all the skills and expertise are being imported in this particular laboratory. This particular laboratory has been laid out and designed in such a way that it is a little bit different than the usually seen laboratories that we encounter in agricultural universities. In the sense, it has been designed so that every student will have an optimum space for working, and the instruments that are being kept are in such a way or in such number that almost all students will have an opportunity to work with the instruments individually or in a small group of 2 to 3. Unlike what we see in generally like 15-20 students in a laboratory, for one exercise or one instrument they handle it and then they complete practicals. Now in the soil laboratory there are about 15 different instruments that are useful to analyze about 25 chemical parameters of soil or water or plant or food products. So this analysis that is very essential not only in terms of recommending fertilizers, not only in terms of knowing about the characteristics of the soils, not only knowing about the quality of the water, not only knowing about the nutritive value of the food products that we eat, also helps in arriving at the recommendations subsequently after the analysis. So, in addition to this particular chemical analysis, soils analysis also have to be carried out both for their physical properties as well as biological properties, or what we can say microbiological properties. So, in this laboratory there is also provision, there is also instruments, there are also tools that can be used for analyzing the 15 physical parameters of the soil that are essential in agriculture for agricultural purposes. The microbiology is being dealt separately. This laboratory deals chemical as well as physical parameters. As I was mentioning, there are about 15 instruments here, but the highlight of this point is they are not in single number, they are in multiples, depending upon the instrument, depending upon the exercise, depending upon the skill that has to be imparted. Each particular instrument is repeated thrice or 4 times, so that very few people can be there at each instrument and they can have hands-on exposure. In addition to these 15 instruments that I was mentioning, we are also having some of the supportive tools for the laboratory analysis, like generally used ovens, incubators, shakers, ovens, etc., and also a very good platforms to work for the chemical analysis. Now, it is also having sufficient facility to do the water analysis. Water analysis is very important in terms of suitability for agriculture, and sometimes a part of it also we can do it for drinking, that is potable. So, the different parameters that have to be analyzed for this purpose, we have the facilities. Then we come to the plants or crops. These analyses have to be carried out to know their nutritive value, to know whether a particular element is deficient or sufficient, so that accordingly we can go for the fertilizer recommendation. With that, the farmers will have to adopt. So, the students will be made experts to do the analysis in these aspects in this laboratory using all these facilities without any hindrance in the exposure or in interaction or in handling of the equipment. This is all about this instrument. In addition to that, during the undergraduation, a limited exposure is given in terms of the equipment. But nowadays the things have changed, unlike in the past where we were using some traditional equipment or traditional tools. We are using nowadays high-end equipment for fast analysis and for a simple procedures. So, it is the endeavor of this laboratory as well as this university to have the high-end equipment also from the undergraduation itself, so that they can be feeling very homely when they go outside for entrepreneurship to handle such these things. I will also show you, and also I will also explain about one of the high-end equipment that is present here, along with many other sophisticated equipments. I have been mentioning about high-end instruments for undergraduate students and during undergraduate program. It is not only important to know the concepts, but also should have the exposure for the high-end instruments in the undergraduation itself, because nowadays lot of automation is there, analysis in every aspect. So, to meet this demand, we have acquired a high-end mycoplasma atomic emission spectrophotometer, which you can see here. The beauty of this particular instrument is that it can analyze 64 elements in 2 minutes if we can feed one sample in the form of a liquid. That means from the soil we extract what all is present in the soil, and then we feed it to this particular instrument. In 2 minutes we will get the 64 elements content in that particular sample. Similarly in the water, similarly in the plant extract, we can find out these elements. The importance of this particular instrument is that it can estimate the very minute quantities that has got implication in terms of environmental impact, in terms of the pollution, because If you want to estimate pollution, the pollution takes place at a very low levels, at a low content of a particular toxic metal. So those sensitive equipments, to do it conventionally is very cumbersome and time taking. So all these things are taken care in this particular instrument. So during undergraduate itself, after giving the concept and after giving the exposure to the different instruments that we have shown earlier in this particular department, our endeavor will be to have the exposure here so that the students will be tech ready when they go outside after undergraduation for any industry, or if they want to pursue their post graduation or doctoral, they will be having a ready exposure to use this equipment and they will be ready for doing their better work. This also has got implication for the, nowadays we have got carbon sequestration, and then we have got climate change aspects being coming into the agriculture. So the analysis of the various elements in terms of minute quantities changes with the time can be easily and in time and in a fast manner can be carried out with this particular instruments. This is one of such instruments that we are acquiring for undergraduation, whereas for post graduation it will be an entirely different array set of high equipment will be there. So this is for the undergraduation that we are trying to expose.